What is up, guys? My name's Jeff. That's Mike. On today's episode, we are going to talk about how to begin a conversation. So, we need to talk. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Oh, I don't even know if it sounds good or not. I should probably listen to it. I think I should.
You remember that show? Are we recording?
Yeah. I don't know where to put stuff like this. This is great stuff. Mike, how are you doing, buddy? What's going on?
I'm good, brother. I'm really good. This is such a joy to be here today. I mean, it's just amazing in Arizona. I mean, you can't get much more better weather than right now. Early in the morning. Well, I guess
today,
you could.
maybe. Yeah, you could get better.
But-
So today is what? I don't know what today is, but it's 95 today, or will be 90. I just burped. I'm sorry. Anyway,
Oops.
it's gonna be 95 today, but it's sunny. The last couple of days it's been cold and it rained yesterday. I almost detailed the truck yesterday.
Cool.
Anyway, let's do the card. Uncommon
the
questions.
cards.
This kind of like
Ugh.
this would go along really, really well with what we're talking about today. How to begin a conversation.
Right on.
Conversation starters for couples. Uncommon questions. Super awesome game. You can get it on Amazon.
I love
I
it.
keep telling you guys I'm gonna put the link out, and I don't. So that camera's really off. I'll fix it.
Keep
for next episode.
harassing him.
Yeah. Oh, that one episode is up. The Muppet Babies episode is up. I haven't heard anything yet.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, all right. What is something that you probably know more about than 99% of the world?
Me. Me. I mean, that's the simple question. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's the simple answer, I should say. But I mean, as far as what I know, I mean, I know what I know, but I don't know what you know. We could know the same things. I mean, it's a really
There are
difficult
things
question.
we know. We know. Have you heard this?
I have
There are
not.
things we know we don't know.
Oh.
There are things we don't know
No,
we don't
no,
know. I
no.
forget who said that. It was like Al Gore or something. He said that like forever ago. Anyway,
No. So what about you?
something that I know more than 99% of the world. That's a tough one.
How to drive a ship?
I do know how to do that. It takes a
Right.
lot more people than one person to drive a
Right.
ship. But yeah, I can physically drive an aircraft carrier. I have. They don't use steering wheels anymore, so maybe not today. But
What?
they're joysticks.
Oh,
But back then, yeah, I could. I was a master helmsman for the Navy, and yeah, that's probably up there. I don't know very many people that can do it. It's scary though when you think about it. The average age of the person who physically drives, like, has their hands on the. Now, there's a bunch of other people who are in charge and keep things from happening, but the average age of the person physically holding the wheel on a ship is 19.
so why is our insurance so much higher?
Right? Can't buy a beer, but I can go to war and drive a ship, and I can't pay for cheap insurance or rent a car till I'm 25.
Right.
I was out of the Navy before, like,
You
any
can
of
do
that. Yeah.
Man.
Anyway, yeah, drive a ship. Anybody can drive a ship out in the ocean, but I got certified to drive when we're close to hitting something.
Oh. I could
Oh.
hit something, no problem.
Yeah, I've never hit anything I told anybody about.
So you're still perfect.
Anyway, yeah. True story. I do have over 1 million safe miles driving an actual truck, like in
Tractor trailers.
yeah.
Nice.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah, it is.
Weird random accomplishment. Anyway, driving a ship. I had never thought of. I don't know where you came up with that, but yeah, driving a ship is probably something.
Because we're gonna go on a cruise, and I feel safer if the guy behind the wheel gets sick. I can always run to you.
I think they use autopilot on those kind of ships.
Oh, whatever.
Anyway, yeah. So today we're talking about how do we talk to our girlfriend or wife, and it seems trivial and it seems kind of dumb, but like that's a real question. Like, how do you begin a conversation? I don't know. Like when I talk to my wife, I'm just like, "Hey, we need to talk," but that has to be the tone is a big deal because like if you say, "Hey, we need to talk," like, are you breaking up with me or
Right.
what? Like that can go a long way. Like, especially if they have anxiety or like self-esteem issues, like not in a bad way, but like we
Right.
deal with these things. Like, hey, we need like you can't just go up to your significant other and be like, hey, we need to talk and then walk away.
Well, you can.
You could, yeah. I wouldn't suggest it. You're gonna have to watch all the rest of the episodes to fix it.
Right. Which is fine. Do that.
But we talked about last week, communication is foundational, like the guy that builds his house on the rock versus the guy that builds his house on the sand. And for like Kim and I, just some backstory on our conversation, we long distance dated for I'm gonna get in trouble for this. Not really. 2 or 3 years before we like got married and like lived together. So all we did was talk. So it was like you should see my phone bill back before, long distance was free. It was ridiculous. We are popular today. I don't know what is happening, but good grief. My phone has been ringing the whole time. Anyway, communication is foundational. So for the first 3 years of Kim and I's second attempt at a relationship, whole different story, was on the phone. Like we talked and all of that stuff, like phone and text and letters, like snail mail.
Oh, wow.
Some of you guys don't know what that is. My son doesn't understand how mail gets to our house, but that kind of stuff. And when you're on a ship on deployment, like it would take, like, I'd be home before some of the letters that I sent from the ship would get to her. So it'd be like I'd been home for a week and she'd get hey, I got a letter from you the other day. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so communication is important. But when you're able to do face-to-face stuff, how do you start that conversation?
Right.
So I don't know. Like I just like, Kim today, like, hey, what do you think about this? But that's our relationship. Like we've built that in, like we talk all the time. And it's like there's no conversation that's off limits. Yes, there are some like delicate conversations, like body weight issues, body image issues. Like those are kind of things
course.
like I genuinely care about the well being of my family. And so, but that's not something like you can't be sitting at dinner at Olive Garden being like, hey, you need to lose some weight. You're going to be sleeping on your neighbor's couch, right?
Right.
But you're sitting at home like, hey, can we talk about this when you're ready? And so maybe that's the way to approach it is like, hey, I want to talk about this. I know now's not the time. Can we set some time to talk about this? But talk about this,
Definitely.
like say what it is. So then it's not, hey, we need to talk and you walk away. So she's wondering whether or not you're going to get divorced or you're going to Hawaii next week.
Right.
But hey, can we talk about XYZ when the time's right?
Definitely.
What do you think? Go for it.
Well, I mean, because what you said earlier, it's more than just saying, "Hey, we need to talk." For me, it's hey, we need to talk. It's not bad. That helps relieve a lot of different things. Or hey, we can't discuss the topic right now, but hey, when we get a chance, let's get together. Whether it be hey, let's meet in the bedroom to talk about something. Again, it's not bad. Or hey, maybe it is important. Just say hey, we need to get together. It's important. Something like that. Just to leave them hanging is horrible because people's minds run through all kinds of different scenarios. What can it be? I'm the same way. When Steph asks me, hey, can we talk a little later? I have to know. What is it about?
About what, right?
Yeah. Okay. It's not bad. Okay. Okay, fine. Or, you don't want to set yourself up to be defensive. You don't want to set yourself up. You want to be receptive when you do start talking. So, I mean, to be able to sit there and throw out, hey, here's a little tidbit of what it is. That is incredible, helpful information. It doesn't have to be the entire conversation. It's just, here it is. Here's a little bit. Maybe we can't talk about it right now. Maybe the kids are in the room. Maybe somebody else is in the room. You're at a restaurant or something like that. But it comes to a point where we need to talk when we get home, or if you are home. Hey, let's run upstairs and just have a real quick conversation about this real quick. I need to get this off my chest, or whatever the case may be. But it's like you talked about. We hit on like last week about the foundation. Every little bit of communication adds to the foundation. If you're doing it wrong, it's just like throwing the sand out there and putting something on top of it. But if you're doing it correctly, you're building a good, strong foundation. You have a form, you have the cement, you're putting bricks around it. It is good, solid foundation. So
it's like habit building. If you have a habit of having these conversations. So I think where we're getting to is how do you start these conversations? Because like Kim and I, we just talk whenever. Like, our kids go to bed between 7:30 and 8, and then she works later in the day. So we don't go to bed till like 10 or 11. So we'll be sitting like down here. We're in my living room. We'll be sitting down here watching TV or whatever. And we're like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, I just blurt it out. But we've built that in. but there are sometimes, like way back when we first started dating, we call them strategy meetings. So we have date night and strategy meeting. Now they're both basically the same thing. Where we have an opportunity to go out without our kids. One is date night where we just go enjoy each other's company. The other one is we sit down and we talk about life goals. How are we doing?
Absolutely.
Where are we at? What's going on? And like we know that's coming. So there are a lot of those things. Like we don't need to sit down now on a Tuesday night in the middle of, April thinking through, hey, what are we doing about this? But hey, at our next strategy meeting, it's a horrible name. That's just what we call it. Can we talk about Hawaii? Like we want to go back to Hawaii. So that was
Right.
one of our, hey, we went to dinner, we talked about it. And then later on there's more conversations. But
Yeah.
how do you start those kind of things? Like, and we're not just talking about, in our show notes, it's not just about sex or about money. Like those are important things. You need to have a plan for those
Definitely.
because they're both, in my opinion, equally important. Because one, you can't talk about money if you're broke, because if there's no money, but you can.
You can.
But you have to have plans for what to do with your finances, and maybe that'll be something we talk about later on, like on a process of. I'm not a financial expert. I don't pretend to be. I'm horrible with it. But the other one, like when you're getting it on a regular basis, there's a sense of connection that happens, that like that bond, like that helps in the conversation
yeah,
process.
absolutely.
And every family has their inside family. I guess it's family. Every family has their inside jokes and stuff like that. We're like, hey, we need to talk. Well, it can't be if you're not going to talk to me, I'm going to not let you, do that thing that you like or whatever. Like
Yeah, there
that can't
shouldn't
be part of it.
consequences or holding things hostage.
So I think maybe our question is, how do you start one of those conversations? How do you start one of those conversations from the perspective of a broken foundation, meaning there is no conversation, there is no communication, we don't talk about anything. We're kind of like two roommates, right? We
Okay.
talk when it's necessary, like, hey, we need milk, or can you take out the trash? Like, and I don't know. I've not thought about it. Like, I don't know how that works. How do you start that conversation when there is no conversation other than trying to find a point of a mutual understanding that something needs to change and we need to come to the table without screaming at each other? What do you think about that?
That's key. I think if it's something that you're emotional about, that's what, in my opinion, in my relationship, in my past, if you're angry about something and you need to start a conversation, in my opinion, you need to calm down first before you get into that. You may be able to say, hey, honey, we need to talk about this. I'm upset. But then go calm down. If it's something that you're emotional about, you got to try to contain everything so you can have a good conversation, an intelligent conversation. So that way you're not attacking, accusing. It's about how I feel. This is what's what.
Yeah.
When it comes to finances or something like that, we know that money is literally the biggest argument topic in marriage. That's the biggest one. So when it comes to money, it's been a lot with throughout my time as being married. It's gone back and forth. She handled the finances. I handled the finances. Now it's we handle the finances. I sit there and go, hey, hon, gonna go pay bills. Okay, I'll meet you there. And then we go over it together. This is what I'm paying. This is what we have. This is what we're paying. And this is what we're going to have left over.
Yeah.
Things like that. I mean, but to get it going, it's to look back early on in my marriage. I can sit there and say, Stephanie would talk to me and I wouldn't listen, to be honest with you. And it was like, I wanted to do what I wanted to do. But that's where, if you're going to have conversations starting, again, in my opinion, you have to want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to talk, there's no conversation. It's not going to have anything to do with your relationship, whether it's just saying hello is something. Every morning before I go to work, Stephanie's asleep. I try not to scare her when I wake her up. Honey, I love you. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. But
I get in trouble when I don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
If I leave the house, and it doesn't happen often, but like if I left the house and she doesn't remember me saying goodbye,
it's almost like
it's not like don't
grab the
home,
phone.
But
I told you, so you can record it. So here's your proof.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. But
that would be bad.
At the same time, I don't want to scare her on it. But that's part of communication. And that's I don't remember if we put that on a thing we want to talk about, but non-verbal communication. Like
Right.
those are things that are important. Like, but now it's habit. Like I go and say goodbye to all three of my kids too, like because they lose their minds if I don't say goodbye before I leave.
Right.
And I'm like, I'll be going outside to check the mail, and they will lose their mind. Like
Where are you going?
I'm just going to the mailbox. I'll be right back. And I'm like, oh okay. I thought you were going to wherever.
Yeah. Yeah, but to get it started, if your foundation is cracked, and you want to get it started, there has to come a time where I think you grab your spouse and say, "Come on, we need to go talk." And like we were talking earlier, before we started recording, it was, do we shut off the football game? Things like that. You know,
and that's like levels of communication, like listening to listen, listening to fix it, listening for support. That same thing comes from the other side. Like, is this hey, can you take out the trash? You don't need to stop what you're doing to say, hey, can you take out the trash?
right,
Depending on who, take out the trash yourself. No. But
right,
stuff like that. Like in our house, it's like it's a process to take out the trash, and it's because of me, because I want the trash cans in the garage. But you got to open the garage door because the car's in the way, blah, blah, blah. So it's not an easy thing. Like if the trash can was in the backyard, I'd be like, take it out yourself. And she would. Like,
right,
but it's a process versus, hey, we got to talk about the Bills. You probably don't want to bring that up on Sunday afternoon when like the game's on, or I'm a NASCAR fan or whatever. Like there's appropriate times for those conversations. But if you need undivided attention from both perspectives, ladies, like guys have things they want to do. It sounds dumb, but we all do it. We get grumpy because they're playing Candy Crush or they're just doing whatever, or guys, we really are thinking about nothing. And our spouses or significant others will be like, that punk's over there watching TV thinking about other girls. I'm like, he's really not, but that's still not the time to bring up conversations. The transition zone. I saw this on TikTok. Have I explained this to you yet?
No.
The transition zone. The worst time to bring up a conversation to a man is the first 30 minutes after he walks in the door from work.
Wow,
because he
that makes
hasn't
sense.
had a chance to transition from work mode to husband, father, I don't have to be accountable, to the rest of the world mode. And I thought
wow.
about it because I haven't had a real job in a long time. I was like, you know what? My wife has this, her transition time. Now, for her, she hasn't driven to the office in a long time, but for her, she would call me on her drive home and just whatever. And I knew most of the time I didn't have to listen to this, but she'd stop me, hey, pay attention to this part. But I was like, transitions. Going from one activity or thinking about nothing to like instantly, like, okay, I need to pay attention. That doesn't work for us
No.
most of the time. So it's one of those, that's where hey, we need to talk. So for guys, it'd be find out what version of that your wife is. Like if she's watching the talk, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what girls do. If she's sewing or she's in the middle of something, like you can't just like spring that on her and be like, hey, you need to talk about this. But hey, can we set aside some time? Now, saying that, being grumpy and loud and negative never got me anywhere, and I assume it never gets any of us anywhere. So it needs to be a humble understanding that something needs to be fixed. And the best way for us to do this is talk about it, but talk about it at a normal volume at a point that we can be productive.
Absolutely.
And we're not always going to agree. Kim and I don't agree on everything. You and I don't agree on everything. But we
True.
need to be able to sit down and talk about it. Coming from the perspective that the foundation needs to be repaired, sometimes you got to just knock the whole thing down and start over.
Definitely.
That's okay. If you've got to a point where your communication is just slamming doors and screaming and hollering all the time, just start over.
Yeah.
Now, it's an awesome time for this plug. If that is not a point where you guys can start, you need to go get help, and that is okay.
Absolutely.
We are not professionals by any stretch of the imagination, but marriage counseling is okay. Pastoral counseling is okay. However you want to get that help. There are wonderful people out there who are trained in this that can help you guys start that part. If you guys don't think you're in a spot where you can just start over and wipe the slate clean and be productive about it, find somebody who can help you. at some point you'll be able to go to mywifestilllikesme.com. You can go there, but this part isn't there yet. We'll have resources like places to go get help and things like
Absolutely.
that. But that's an important part. But from the perspective of the relationship needs to be fixed, starting anywhere with, hey, how you doing? Where are we at? And then this is a big one for me because I don't always want to hear this. Letting our spouses or significant others explain themselves without any repercussions. Like, hey, I don't like it when you do this. And not just, talking about like when you do whatever in the bedroom, but like, hey, I don't like it when you park the car on the wrong side of the driveway, or I don't like how you load the dishes, or whatever. Let them speak their piece.
Right.
Be okay with it, and then either talk about how you can do better or a compromise or something you can mutually agree on. But start with simple stuff. We will never, ever, ever know the answer to where they want to eat. I'm sorry. You just won't.
Nope.
I have an idea how to figure it out.
Nope.
Yeah. Have you not heard this?
Nope.
Hey, guess where I'm taking you? The first answer is where you take them.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
My wife likes to eat at the same two places, so we're either going to Olive Garden or Red Robin.
Oh. No, I enjoy it. I wanted to go home. Stephanie and I, this is funny. This is just a couple days ago. Hey, you want to go get something to eat? Sure. What do you want to eat? Oh, I don't care. And it's, hey, and she's like, well, steak. Well, we have steak at home. Back and forth, back and forth.
Okay. For me, like, it works. Apparently, that didn't work for you. I'm sorry. Hey, guess where we're going? And then that's where we go.
Yeah. Well, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, it's not going to work now. The way you,
No, I'm going to give it a shot. But I think, back on topic for what we were talking about, to sit there and go through a conversation.
Calling me out, man.
No. Not yet. But as a guy, I mean, I'm speaking from my experiences. When my wife would come out and be like, hey, we need to talk. And I would sit there and go, yeah, sure, no problem. Guys, I'm talking to you directly. Make sure you go talk. Don't blow it off.
Oh, yeah.
That is key. Because I would sit there and just to get her out of the room, it would be, I'm watching a game, or I love NASCAR as well. I'm watching NASCAR and she comes in and says, hey, can we talk? Yeah. We'll talk later. Later never comes. And then she would feel horrible because I just blew her off, and and I did, and she feels that. And then when it does come time to talk, that emotion's already there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's great, guys, to sit there and go, hey, hon, I remember that you wanted to talk. I have time now. Let's go talk. And I guarantee you they will love that because you've put them as a priority.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to do. I mean, your spouse should always be a priority anyway. But when you actually take the time and you go to them and you say, I remember you speaking to me and you wanted to talk. I have some time now. Let's go talk. Let's go to lunch. Let's go to dinner. Let's go, let's go for a walk. Something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's critical for me. I had to overcome that myself, is I would sit there and say, yeah, no problem. We'll talk later. And then must not have been a big deal because she didn't bring it back up. But yes, she's waiting for me to say, hey, it's okay to talk now.
Yeah.
So that's key.
I like that.
That's very key.
Like, hey, you said we talk later, and then they never bring it back up because they're waiting for you to validate, like,
later's now. Okay.
Dude, yeah.
So something for you guys to think about, if you tell her.
DVR.
Oh, DVR.
Ralphie May. Don't swear. So he's the guy that said this forever ago. TiVo saved the marriage. Have I shared this with you?
No, you haven't, okay. But I know what
you're
talking about.
He said TiVo saved the marriage because it'd be like, same idea, like he's sitting there watching, the fight or the game or whatever, and she's like, he's over there not doing nothing, and I'm over here cleaning the dishes and doing this and that, and like I've asked him to take out the trash like 16 times, and finally gets to like, can you take out the trash? Oh yeah, babe, I'll get in a minute. Hey, can you take out the trash? Yeah, babe, I'll get to it. Next commercial break. 5 commercial breaks later, she is just screaming at you to take out the trash. TiVo. Hey, babe, can you take out the trash? Yeah, sure. Bloop.
Pause. There we go.
Comes back. All right, let's take out the trash.
There it is. There it is. Continue.
TiVo saved the marriage.
Absolutely.
DVR. But I know we're joking about it, but that's the kind of things we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the conversations, but it's the, hey, can you help me with this? It might be a right now kind of thing. You know, you got babies. Like, hey, I'm dealing with this, and poop's coming out of the back of the baby's diaper. Can you go change the kid?
Right.
Or, hey, like, you know, today, it hasn't happened yet, but my wife's on the phone with clients all day long. I might have to go manage my children while we're doing that. It happens. Like, those
Definitely.
are like, that's not a, we can't talk about that later. It does happen. But for some of the serious things, like starting over, wiping the slate clean, and trying to fix the foundation, like, hey, can we sit down and walk through this?
Yeah. I mean, don't be afraid to ask. Can it wait a minute, or do you need help now? Do you need to speak now? I mean, it's that's a great thing, because now you're communicating right there, and it validates them.
I feel like we're making a checklist now for every time. Like, so am I listening to listening to fix it, or listening for support? Do I have to turn off the game, or does it need to happen right now? Hey, if that's the basics till you understand, like, when you've been married as long as we have and are trying to be better at just being husbands, you can tell from the question whether or not it's a listen now or listen later conversation.
Usually.
But not like at the beginning, like, no, like when we were newlyweds, like, I had no idea. But at the same time, all we wanted to do is eat dinner and do other things.
I'll tell you what, I'm still trying to have the battle with myself about working on things. Being the only male in the house.
Oh, yeah.
And literally last night I was trying to fix the bed. Somehow it broke. Not the mattress part, but the the drawer on the headboard.
Yeah.
Anyway, it broke, and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to fix it, and I'm like, I need somebody to hold a flashlight. And I'm like, right here. No, right here.
Oh, that doesn't matter whether they're guys or girls, but like.
Well, I mean, I try to sit there and when I'm helping somebody, if I ever help you or something like that, and you're working on X spot, I would look at it from your eyes, go, he needs to see like this. And I would physically contort myself to go, okay, this is how he's going to need to look. So trying to do that last night, I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? Fine, just give me the flashlight. And I'm holding it with my mouth, and it's horrible. And I'm sitting there trying to fix it. And then finally, it's like, how can you not see what I need to do? And it's like things like that when I communicate that way. I was communicating in a negative way. So
sure. I
had to figure that out. I'm still learning. I've been married 28 years, going on 29.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still things that I still need to work on. But, and to be able to sit there and have her go, I didn't like how you talked to me like that. I need to allow her to do that, like you had said.
Yeah.
And that's key, because if you don't allow her to do that, or him in any case, we're going to put everything in perspective of, they don't want to talk to me. They don't care how I feel. But when you do listen, and when you do say, hey, I hear what you're saying, and yes, acknowledge it was wrong if it was wrong.
Sure. Absolutely.
It's incredible how my wife responds to that.
Absolutely. And my kids respond to that. Like, my son will come down and have that conversation. Hey, Daddy, I know I messed up, but that wasn't okay. Yeah. And he and I've had that, like, I've told him, like, hey, that's okay to have that conversation. Like, you can come tell Daddy that he didn't handle that properly.
Right.
Sorry. One of my kids came down here, was like trying to walk around cameras. I'm like, would you just go upstairs? Anyway, all right. I think we've pretty much hammered that one past the point that we broke the nail off.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, like, subscribe, shoot us a comment. Let us know if there's something you want to talk about, or if we're way off base and that's just not how you handle it. We all, like, my marriage is not the same as Mike's. Let us know what you think. Like, subscribe. You can go to the website if you want and check it out. There's not a lot there, but you can go there. mywifestilllikesme.com or at mywifestilllikesme on all of those places. We will catch you next week. I don't know what we're talking about next week because I haven't thought that far ahead. But till next week. See ya.